Okay, so this is installment 1 of my video log about our preconception journey. So it might be a bit of a long one because I've been meaning to do this for a while. Where to start? I guess the best thing to do is to start with why I want to do this in the first place, and that's because I feel like part of my purpose in life is to help guide others, maybe even inspire. I don't know if that's a little egotistical, but I definitely want to guide and educate others based off of my own learnings and my own experience. I know that I don't have all the answers, but I want to use my blessings and my diagnoses to work through certain situations in order that I might be able to help other people not have to go through what I've been through or find the answers faster. And I get that everybody is unique and individual, but if there's something that sharing my experience with others can help them, then that will make me happy that I've helped others to succeed and to not feel shit, basically. Forewarning, there'll probably be a fair bit of swearing in these videos. So I guess in terms of what's going on, I've wanted to be a mum since before I can remember. I was lucky enough to be a part in the raising of my younger brother, who's 10 years my junior. So at the age of, 11 or 12, when he was just a 1 or 2 year old tiny little thing, I got to cook for him and put him to bed, and I know that that's not all that is required of being a mother, but I really enjoyed that nurturing role, and it gave me a sense of fulfillment and happiness. So ever since then, I think I've had this desire to want to do that for my own children, and I'm now 32, almost 33, and so I've had this passion and this goal for a long time. And obviously making a baby is a 2-person job, and it's not something that you do willy-nilly. It's something that you do with the love of your life, hopefully. So I'm now married to the love of my life, but he's younger than me. So this is kind of part of the situation. And I guess even if you do find a partner that's not younger than you, men do mature later than women. So part of the challenges that my partner and I have come up against are that I have been ready for a long, long time. And when I met him and I knew that he was the one for me, I was ready straight away, whereas he wasn't, and still isn't, and has in mind a certain date that I have had to continuously work through my own expectations in order to meet him where he's at, which I'm still struggling with. And I guess part of this process is learning to deal with that, but also helping him to understand where I'm coming from, and hopefully that we can find a compromise. So we've been together since October 2013. We got married last October, that's 2017. So we've been together for 4 years when we got married, and our 1-year anniversary is coming up soon. So it's currently August 12th is the date of this log. And so our 1-year wedding anniversary will be coming up in a few months' time. In that journey, we've had heaps of fun, we've had heaps of amazing adventures together, created a lot of awesome memories, but I'm very ready for that next step of our journey together, and he's not. And I feel like this is a common challenge that comes up in a lot of relationships, whether you decide to get married or not. It's definitely not necessary. To be honest, I wouldn't have minded either way if we hadn't got married. I knew it was something, being that my husband is a bit of a traditionalist, it was something that he wanted before we got pregnant. And if we had got pregnant, I'm sure he would have just been like, yep, the universe decided that for us. But we did decide to get married, and we had an amazing wedding. We got to share it with all of our family and friends, our big families. And it was lovely. But I guess that's just a side note. Obviously you can do whatever you want and you don't have to get married. But I think it does help both people in the relationship to grow closer together, but also grow in themselves. So it's almost like we both stepped up to the plate a little more. Like when we got engaged, we became that little more emotionally connected. And then when we got married, it was like we got to declare our love for one another before family and friends, and just gaze into each other's eyes and have that ritual and that ceremony around what is important to us and what we do really care about each other. And it shouldn't take, obviously, a wedding to do that, but it does create that environment in which people who might not express their feelings normally do get that opportunity too. So whilst I'm saying this, I love the idea of maybe connecting with your other half to constantly remind them. And I think it would be a nice thing if we continuously watched our video of us giving our vows to one another. Or, you know, a lot of people talk about date night, and for me, my love language, if you've not looked at those, you should definitely look into them. I think it's Gary Chapman created the 5 love languages, and mine is quality time. So spending time together and, you know, sharing those words that allow each other to feel appreciated and understand that you are loved and that you are an integral part of that other person's life is necessary, rather than what can tend to happen is you just kind of become a part of the other person's life, and that becomes an expectation, and you just kind of continue to go with the flow, which is nice, but it's sometimes nice to have that reassurance and that confirmation that you do care about each other, in words or actions can reinforce that. So back to, I guess, the story of misalignment on timeline. This is something that I've been attracting a lot of females into my life at the moment that are either already trying but struggling to get pregnant, feel like they've missed the boat. So other people who kind of like maybe wanted kids but then feel like it's too late now, and then other people who the female is ready, or one partner in the relationship is ready but the other isn't. And I guess I always overanalyze everything, and I feel like I'm calling in these different people right now. I'm attracting these different people because I'm kind of stuck in this place as well, where I'm like, I thought this was my purpose. I feel a very strong connection to being a mum, even to go as far as saying, like, I can feel the energy of my future baby, which might weird a few people out, but I'm owning it. I definitely feel it, and that's something that keeps fueling me to make better decisions for not only my health and well-being, but also the future of our family, and that drives me constantly. So that's, I guess, when people ask me what my why is, it is to be a mum, and there's a very strong passion for that. Like that's deep in my womb space that I want to fulfill that prophecy. So at first it was like, okay, well, Maddie's not ready yet, so I'll wait for him, not without harassment in the process, I must say. I have been pushing. Us women go through these monthly cycles, and at some times in the month, I push and I push and I push, and at other times of the month, I don't. And I feel like that there's females that can resonate with my side of the story, and that there's males, or even like other if you're in a same-sex relationship, one partner is like ready, and the other one's like, no, please leave me alone, I'm not ready, I've got other things I want to do, or we don't have enough money, or we're not in the right house, which are two of the issues that we came up against in the process of I'm ready, I'm not ready. So my body is telling me that we are ready, and we'll work everything else out along the way. And a lot of people don't get to plan that. It just happens, and then they just make the best of the situation that they've got. We have been using the very effective, apparently, pull-out method. That is our contraception. Too much information, whatever, I'm sharing. And this will only be seen once, hopefully, we have successfully conceived our baby and moved on from this part of our lives anyway. But yeah, so it really is up to Maddie, because he gets to decide whether he pulls out or not. And that's really hard for a female to go through that when they know, obviously, procreating comes from having sex and ejaculation, completion of the act within the female. So that's not been happening. That's not where he's at, and not mentally ready. So I've been probing, I've been trying to find out, like, why not ready? Okay, not enough money. We're never going to have enough money. Okay, living next to people who are causing us a lot of anxiety because they don't like dogs. So, dogs bark. we get complaints, causes us a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, not good conditions to try to conceive a child. So there's a lot of things going on kind of environmentally, like in our atmosphere that aren't setting us up for success there. And then also the emotional, or just like he's, you know, emotionally not ready, like feeling scared, like not ready to give up that part of his life. So that's something that we've been working through, and I guess like he's very happy just to not even talk about it and just to keep living his life and going through the motions, whereas I feel the need to talk about it and constantly check in and go, are you ready yet? Are you ready yet? For a while, he had said January 2019 was when he wanted to start trying. Like 2019 was when we would start, and I needed a compromise. I needed him to meet me in the middle. Seeing as I am older, I'm already in my 30s, he wanted to finish his 30s, we're going to have to meet in the middle. So he came up with October, and that's the date that he stuck with. In that process, we started to get some tests done for me. So I have a couple of genetic mutations, polymorphisms or SNPs. I mean, that's the scientific language, but one is a genetic mutation in the MTHFR gene, another is in the COMT gene, and another is in the MAOA gene. If you're interested in looking into that stuff more, listen or read a book called Dirty Genes by Dr. Ben Lynch. Definitely recommend it. I learned a lot about the 7 super genes that can affect people's mindset, health, well-being, quality of life, and ways in which you can change those things, which align very much with what we talk about through our business, nutrition and health coaching. But that's one area of what's going on. And then the other side of it that I'd completely forgotten about was a condition called pyrroles or pyroluria, which I got diagnosed with probably when I first moved up to Brisbane in 2014, along with the MTHFR stuff. And because supplementation for the MTHFR was what I'd been focusing on, undermethylating, so not able to recover properly, my body doesn't recover at the rate of the rest of the population or the majority of the population. So it's only sort of like 30% recovery. So very challenged. I don't go through that methylation process as efficiently as I should, and I have helped myself through that process with supplementation, correct diet intervention, and lifestyle intervention, and I'm constantly having to modify that in order to stay well enough to live a normal life. I'm not saying everybody's going to have to do that, but that's just kind of what I'm going through. And so I knew that staying healthy was important for the pregnancy, and in that process I had not really focused on the pyroluria because it's mainly around zinc, magnesium and B6 deficiency, and they were things that I was supplementing with for the MTHFR anyway. Now I had, I guess, dropped off from seeing my naturopath, which was probably not the best idea, but I was feeling pretty good, and then I didn't feel so good. We got back from a big trip to Europe. I kind of felt like we would be moving into the next phase of our relationship of starting to try for kids, even though it wasn't October yet because I was still pushing. These are all symptoms of my my pyrroles condition anyway, those kind of extreme behaviours and the ups and downs, almost like a bipolar. It often gets misdiagnosed as bipolar, and I've never been diagnosed as bipolar, but I definitely feel the highs and lows, and through my mindfulness, yoga and meditation, I've been able to be aware of what's going on, detach myself from it, and not detach myself, but at least be aware of what's going on and not get pulled into the darkness too deep. It's definitely there, and that's a whole nother story, so we don't need to go into that right now. But yeah, so I guess rather than going on and on and on about this, but the pyrroles condition is definitely something that's been brought back to my attention. I recently started working with a GP who specialises in this, and she has suggested that we wait until January 2019 whilst I adjust or fix, correct, whatever you want to call it, my zinc. And I am very aware of the language that I use around this because I've spent so long telling myself that I'm not broken, I don't need fixing, and I guess I have had self-esteem issues, as we all do in the past, and I've worked hard on rectifying that. And now I am going through that kind of like self-esteem issue again, and I do have an actual health problem that does need to be fixed before we're allowed to start trying for a baby. And funnily enough, in that process, in the last month, we finally started living on our own. So we've been living with my brother-in-law since we started dating, since I moved up to Brisbane from Sydney. And that's been a really, I love him, but it's been really nice to live with my husband, just the two of us, and have our own space. Like, that's been amazing. And so I definitely think that helped us to grow again into that next stage of our relationship. But during that process, Maddie was ready. And then my health has stopped us again. So I just kind of had to laugh, because otherwise I'll cry a lot, and know that there is a plan. Whatever you believe in, destiny, fate, divine, spirit, God, whatever it is, whatever you want to call that thing that is kind of directing us and guiding us through life, there is a plan, and I do trust that plan, and I do have faith in that plan, but it still hurts. So that's a little introduction to where I'm currently at. I'll continue to record these little video logs so that eventually I can document this and hopefully help some other people. But the main thing that I've become aware of that I really wanted to share with people is that the preconception journey has to start 3 to 6 months before you're ready to conceive. Because we do have knowledge now. Knowledge is power. We don't have to just let these things happen by accident. We do get to choose to be pregnant. We do get to choose what lives we live, and the lives that we live as the parents, or the future parents of our blessed little souls of children that will choose us later in life. What we eat, what we choose to do on a daily basis, the quality of our life, our happiness, that affects the outcome of our child for the rest of their life. Epigenetics, nutrigenomics, like these things, the way that we live and eat and choose to live our lives now affect the genes of our child, not only for the start of their lives, but for the rest of their lives. So yeah, I do a lot of research, I do a lot of reading, and sometimes it can be scary, and sometimes you need to decide how extreme you want to go. And this is something that, again, I've been struggling with, because I've just read Dave Asprey and I think it's Lana is his wife, Asprey, Better Baby book. And if you do get easily scared, don't read it. I think I drove myself and Maddie mad whilst I read it, because I am an extremist, and I read it and the science was there, and I wanted to do everything in the book. And it does reduce quality of life, and psychological health and mental health is just as important as physical health, and that's what I need to keep reminding myself so that I can share that with others. Because extreme behaviours of telling my husband that he can't drink when he's a very healthy human being and isn't going to binge all that much is a bit out there, and I need to keep reminding myself of that, or have external influences that help to remind me of that, because we're going to have healthy children, and I guess I just have to find my balance, and he has to find his balance, and then we need to meet in the middle, because it is a constant compromise. We do love each other, and we are willing to work through that stuff. So yeah, that's that for today. I think that's enough, and thanks for watching. More to come.